Hi there, I'm Mackenzie Ray. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am bringing you a video on something I have never done before, which is digital bullet journaling. If you've seen any of my other videos, then you know I have been bullet journaling physically in a paper journal for many years now. However, in 2022, I am diving headfirst completely into digital planning, and I am not going to be paper planning at all anymore. I have been experimenting with these layouts for the last couple months, really trying to figure out what is going to work best for me so that when the new year is here, I am ready to dive in completely. So there are many different ways that you can digitally plan. However, the most popular is in a note-taking application that you download to a tablet. I am going to be using an iPad, which is how I have been taking notes for the last few years. That's why I am transitioning to digital bullet journaling, is because I've been digitally note-taking for a few years, and this seems like a natural transition to keep all of my information in one concise place. I'm going to be going through the journal that I've set up and showing you guys the pages that I have created, along with editing them real time while I talk about them to show you how I did it. And if you've seen other bullet journal videos, like digital journals, then you probably know that a lot of people use journals that they've either created themselves or downloaded that include a bunch of embedded hyperlinks. But I'm not going to be doing that. I've been using GoodNotes just to take notes for courses that I've been in for years now, and so I'm really going to be keeping it simple, only using GoodNotes, just pages, and writing in them very much in the way that a physical bullet journal is. Because when you have a physical bullet journal, you can't just like click to a page and go there. You have to actually flip to it. And there's something about the process of like looking for a page that I tend to really like. Maybe I'll regret this halfway through the year and download a journal. We'll see if that happens. But for now, I'm going to be sticking with a very simple layout that I've just drawn and created myself. I'm really excited about this. I know that it's going to change the way that I plan for the better, and I'm really stoked to show y'all what I have created. And if you want to see more, definitely join me on my channel and subscribe below. And if you like this video, then like, comment, and share. So let's get to planning. Okay, I'm super excited to get going, so let's dive in. For starters, I'm using an iPad mini with the corresponding Apple Pencil. I really love this smaller size because it's making transitioning from paper planning to digital planning super simple, because I open it up and it feels just like a notebook in my hands. And speaking of, GoodNotes makes it very easy to have multiple different folders and notebooks, so I have my journals kind of split up into different books, which I'm really liking going through them to make things a little easier to find. So for starters, we're going through my personal astrological almanac for the first half of the year. I did not make this, I purchased this from Honeycomb Collective, and I would highly recommend this planner for anybody who is a professional astrologer or someone who is an astrological enthusiast that is really trying to learn, because this thing is full of information. You can get asteroid or Hellenistic plugins. There is literally so much information here. It is amazing. And I'm not going to go through all of it page by page, but I'm going to go through how I am using these spreads for the new year. So every month you have the overview of the planetary movements. I've started highlighting it just to start making notes of things. And then you have a page of artwork from the artist of your choice. I love this company because they directly support artists and astrologers who make this beautiful art, and I love being able to choose. You have the year at a glance, month at a glance, with mundane and personal transits. And then you have the notes pages. I added on notes pages because I am going to be using this as not only my astrological planner, but also a goal planner. So every month, and just for reference, I wrote this and then I used a text box for January, and I matched the color to, as close as I could, this color, because I'm really liking matching the colors to the artwork. So every month I'm going to have a page where I go over my monthly goals or monthly feelings, or really what I am feeling going into the month. And then you have the weekly pages. So this is going to be where I do my daily journaling. Sometimes I like writing with the Apple Pencil to have like the actual handwritten feeling, but sometimes I like using a text box and just typing so that I can more quickly journal my feelings. And I'm gonna have every single day in this space next to, I'm gonna have my daily journaling feelings. And then every week comes with a notes page. So I really love this. The notes add-on is super valuable to me. I wrote the week of, and then I used a text box for December 27th to January 2nd. So this is a weekly check-in to see how did I feel, how did the week go, kind of just an empty space to write as much or as little, maybe add a few pictures if I want. And every single week goes like that. I'm gonna have my daily journaling, and then I'm gonna have my weekly review. And then at the end of the month, there is a review page. So just in the beginning of the month, how I had a page for the intentions going into the month. At the end, I'm gonna have a review page going over how I felt about what that was. And so I wrote reviewing here, and then I did a text box for January. So anything that's written can be manipulated individually, and anything that's a text box, let's turn text boxes on, will be moved by all together. So that's pretty much how I'm going to be using the Astrological Almanac. So let's move on to the activity tracker. This is super, super simple. It's only going to take a few seconds. Really, this is where I'm tracking different workouts that I do that have specific details that I want to keep track of. So I have a separate place where I kind of put my activity at a glance, but this is where I'm going to put the nitty-gritty details to keep things together. So then we have my goal planner. And for all of these title pages, I just put one page on the front that would be a photo that I liked for the cover, because the first page ends up being the cover when you're flipping through and looking. So this is right now doubling as kind of me planning my planner and figuring out what pages I'm gonna need. I have a page of potential goal ideas and a couple rough future logs looking at days that are coming up that I wanted to kind of get a grip of before I actually put everything in here. I also have a theme ideas page, which is kind of really basic, really simple, just figuring out what fonts, colors, themes I'm going to be going with for each month. Then we get into my actual goal planning. So my goal planning is a combination of goal planners that I have seen before, and then a combination with the Desire Map method from Danielle Laporte. There is an actual book called The Desire Map. I would highly recommend it to literally everybody. I personally have the book, and I've bought the book for many friends and loved ones. It's an amazing book that really shows the importance of linking together your feelings and your goals. And so through this method and through other planning methods, I have created what works best for me through trial and error. So the first page that I have in the actual goal planner is a page to assess my 2021 goals. This is just writing down the goals that I set for 2021, what area of my life they were in, and how they went. So I don't use level 10 life, but I do have 10 different life areas that I like to look at. And so this is just very factually what it was and how it went. And then the next page is more of a free-flowing journaling page. How did I feel from month to month? How did I feel in the overall year? Really reflecting on those different things. So next we have the doing page. These are super popular in the planning community. You have a keep doing, stop doing, and start doing list. I love doing these. They're super enlightening, and I knew that I had to have it towards the beginning of my goal planner for the new year. Next, we have an open mind map. So mind map of desired feelings is what I've called this, and this is going to be just where my feelings go and then what my feelings lead to. I'm not really trying to put anything in a certain category quite yet until I fill this page out, and then I go to my categories. So my 10 areas of life, I have a box for each area, and I'll write the name of each on the side. And this is where I'm translating these feelings into these life areas. And of course there will be overlap, but this is really where I wanted to get things transitioned from just the open mind map into the different areas of my life. From here, we go into the thinking page. This is where I reference the initial potential goal ideas page at the beginning of this notebook, where those potential goal ideas I've just kind of written down like over the last few weeks and the last couple months. I've just been kind of dumping those in there. And this is actually where I say, okay, are any of those actual goals, or are those just kind of throwaway ideas that I thought would sound fun? This is where I'm starting to really think what could be a potential goal. And then I translate it into the choice and decision. So these pages are really blank, but they're gonna be really full by the end of this because I'm gonna have so much written on them. And so this page really is where the ideas of what I think I'm gonna do translate into actual goals that I am choosing to work on. And then we go into themes. So I split my year and my quarters into annual, yearly goals, and then quarterly, seasonal goals. I do this because I like having overarching things that I'm working on, but I also like having smaller projects and smaller goals that are more accessible to do in short periods of time, that all add up and contribute and kind of snowball into one another. Interestingly, you'll see that according to this, I've kind of already started 2022. I don't have any of these goal pages filled out yet, specifically because I have a lot of notes in my paper planner that I was waiting to transfer over until I did this video. But I like to start my new year at the beginning of December. And you see the astrological glyphs written here because there is a very specific reason and methodology to how I goal plan and how I divide time based on my own natal chart and based on very specific Hellenistic timing techniques that I practice. And I'm thinking about doing an entire video on just this, like how I utilize time and manipulate different increments of time to plan my goals. And comment down below if that would be something you're interested in, because I have so much to say on that and I really think that it could be helpful. So yes, my word of the year for 2022 is enchantment. I really love that word and I love the feeling that it gives me. And so I'm going to have different themes kind of overarching with that are going to all tie together for each of the quarters. And then shit gets real. So this is my action page, and this is where I'm going to write the life area that a goal is along with the actual specific goal itself, and then it's gonna get real. And I'm gonna be writing actual ways that I can make this happen. And I have a few of these pages, but it's very easy to just go into GoodNotes and duplicate these for as many different goals as I have, because I'm gonna have one page for each goal. Each action has its own page to really give it the space. So moving on to our coup de grace, the bullet journal itself. So we are going into 2022 and I'm going completely digital. And this is a photo with just text that I've put over it for the beginning of that. But as you saw in the activity log and as you saw in the goal planner, as it is in the bullet journal for the new year, I am going with black dot grid paper. So I have always wanted to have a blackout bullet journal. Archer and Olive has some beautiful ones, and I have some Archer and Olive black like notepad paper, but it just never seemed convenient to me with all of the supplies and all of the different ways that you have to adjust your planning. But transitioning into digital, I felt the freedom to really say, hey, we're gonna go all in with the black paper. So you have a very standard grid spacing guide here and a key. These are essentials in the bullet journal community, showing how many spaces for divisions and a key for all the icons. I did not do any of the normal grid spacing things that I've done where I divide into different like halves or thirds or quarters. I didn't do any of that just because I don't really use this page that much. This is kind of just a nice to have page, but either way, it's a bullet journal classic that I could not leave out in my digital bullet journal. Moving on, I have my solar return page. So this is where I will put all of my loved ones' birthdays so that I know to celebrate their solar return every year. Of course, I already have mine written, but I don't have anyone else's yet. And if you don't know, your birthday is your solar return, because your solar return is when the sun returns to the degree that it was when you were born. Moving on, I have my vision board. So interestingly, as you saw, I don't have any of my goals totally planned yet, but I already have my vision board ready. And that's because for me, vision boards are not goal specific. They are feeling specific. And so I pulled some stock photos of some skylines, but I also pulled photos from photo shoots that I've done, travels that I've taken, things that I've created, just really putting my feelings on this vision board for the year ahead with my word of the year. Then we have my future log. So, spoiler alert, I only wrote all these numbers one single time. This is the beauty of digital journaling. So, I wrote all of these numbers, and then I went in here and went, okay, so that's the week that I need, copy, and then pretend I'm on my future log right now, and we can paste it. And so, could I have written all of these numbers again? Absolutely, I could have. And I even hand wrote them once. I didn't use text boxes, so they are handwritten. They're not perfect, but I wanted them to have that handwritten feeling with the uniformity of them all looking the same in my mini calendars and in my number lists. So that's something that I really found nice to do. You'll see that I also already have written in the government calendar holidays along with witchy pagan holidays, and all of that is on my personal future log. And it does say personal because you can see that I also have a future log for business professional things. So this is not necessary for everybody's life, but if you do own your own business or run multiple businesses hypothetically, you know that your personal life and your professional life are somewhat intertwined, but they are still different. And so I wanted to have a personal future log where I'm going to put, things like holidays. This is where I'm going to put just personal events versus business things. And I have a lot of notes in my paper planner right now, which is where I'm going to be putting potential launch dates and different ideas for things that I want to create. So that's a really good thing to have if you do own your own business. Then we have a creation page. I believe that these are called Kanban boards. I have only used them very briefly in my own journal, but the way that they work is that you write your projects essentially. So if I was using this for this video right now, I would have the 2022 plan. Essentially, I would put the title of what I'm working on or like a short version of the title. And then I would highlight it with the color that I have decided is going to go with things that I film. So you take this, you use this amazing lasso tool is what it's called. This thing is a lifesaver. So you have this selected, and every time that you move from one step to another, you can move it to that spot in the creation board. So this is going to be so helpful to really see everything that I'm working on at a glance, to be able to see where it is in the stages. And I'm very, very excited for this page. It's going to save me a lot of paper too, because I really didn't want to create a physical one and use sticky notes. So I'm super excited for this. Then we have a very simple when did I last page. This is for self-care, decorations, cleaning stuff, and I'm just gonna go in here and write the day, the last thing that something happened, so that I can reference this quickly. I'm not gonna look at this page every day, but I'm definitely gonna look at it multiple times a week, so it's a good just kind of dump, and I will add to it as I see fit. Then we go into the monthly templates. So I'm calling these monthly templates because I have created a bunch of pages that I am going to go in here and that I am going to duplicate every month. And I am going to do this so that I keep some consistency in my bullet journal. Also because I have found that the things that work for me very consistently work for me. So don't fix it if it ain't broke, honestly. For the monthly cover pages, I'm going to copy and paste the little mini calendar for that month from my future log. And then I'm going to maybe put a quote, definitely put the title, which month it is. I'm going to add some doodles, whatever doodles I decide, whatever photos I decide, because in this goal planning page, or in this goal planner, this theme ideas page, I'm gonna add as many of these as I need, but this is really gonna be me brainstorming colors and themes that I'm gonna implement in my bullet journal. So we'll have the monthly cover page, and then we go into these super functional spreads. All of these monthly spreads are looking pretty identical to how they did in my paper planner because I've gotten them to a place that works for me. For my finances, I track who, when, and the amount for all of my bills, my different income sources, business expenses, and balances. For expenses, I really don't write everything that I buy, just the things that need to be tracked for like filing tax purposes, I believe. And also like any major personal expenses. So if I decide to buy something like personally, but it's like a larger expense, I will write it on here and I will just keep those like a line between them just so that I know the difference. Then we have my monthly template. And so I made 2 of these because I wanted the option to change pretty easily between vertical or horizontal. And this is the monthly spread where I track my moods and my activity at a glance. So I mentioned in my activity spread, this was specifics, but I like to track my mood and my activity together, meaning that I will write like a word or 2 about what I did. Like if I have a climbing session that's pretty straightforward, if I'm working on dance choreography, if I'm walking my dogs for a certain number of minutes. This is where I keep track of those things because they're more straightforward. I know how they feel in my body versus if I'm doing different conditioning things, different lifts, and I want to be specific, that's where I go to the activity tracker. And I will note that with like a little asterisk or something, like maybe a little A in the corner, that it's in my activity tracker. And this is also a big thing for me, tracking my mood with my activity, because I have found that these 2 things are extremely connected for my life. If I'm more active, then I'm generally happier. It's just how my life works and how my body works at this point. So that's my monthly template. Oh, and definitely important to mention here, you see all these little boxes here. And again, remember, nothing here is hyperlinked. These are all separate individual. So all of these boxes were very individually placed and all of them were individually drawn. So I drew a box, one single box, and then I pasted it, and then I kept that going across this entire page. And when I actually use this for my months, I will remove some of these boxes because of course I have too many. And so depending on how large the month is, I will go through here and remove however much I need depending on how many days there are. And that obviously doesn't look right. I should have erased them on the other side, but you get the gist of that. This is how I use that. So moving on, we go into my habit tracker. So again, all the days. My habits I split into 2 kind of main categories, maintaining and studying. Maintaining is just like daily habit things, like if I consumed caffeine, if I consumed any alcohol, if I had a no spend day, stuff like that. And then for studying, this is where I will keep track of every single thing that I'm reading at the time and which days I made progress on those books, and also any online courses or certifications that I'm working on. This is my nourishment page, which is where I track every single thing that I nourish my body with. I didn't used to track this for a while. I've gotten in and out of it at times, but I've started doing it again recently, and I have little symbols that I use to note whether I cooked the food or whether a friend cooked the food and I ate with them, or whether I ate out and it was takeout food. So this is just a really easy way to have a full page for that, and I often look at this page with my activity tracker, with my mood and overall activity log to see how all of those things are lining up. Then we have the bread and butter of my setup, which is my weekly page. And this has been the same pretty consistently for many months now. I have my running task list over here. At the very top, I will put my work hours. So I will put the days that I have shifts of production, the days that I'm teaching, and the days that I'm giving consultations or privates. And then I'll skip a line or 2, and then I will start kind of like brain dumping any tasks that I need to do that week. And then over here, I have a box for every single day of the week for all of the days, and I will write any special events or appointments that I want to definitely not forget. And then I think this is just kind of the same template from my goal planner page. The boxes that I made for this, those are the same pages, just with my goals actually listed by life area. Yeah, and then just extra pages. So yeah, in the new year, I will be putting together monthly Plan With Me videos showing where I take these templates and I make them into art, and I add doodles and I add photos. And I definitely am wanting to make sure to incorporate the colors and themes from the different artwork in the Honeycomb Almanac. I'm absolutely in love with these illustrations that Alex did, and I cannot really recommend them as an artist or Honeycomb as a company enough. It's absolutely stunning. So yeah, I believe that does it for this video. It's been kind of a long one, so thank you for sticking with me. If you are still here and if you're not subscribed, oh my gosh, what are you doing? Definitely click subscribe down below and the notification bell to make sure that you know when I post new videos, and like and comment this video if you did like it, because I would really love feedback on this digital journaling. I know that it's very different from a lot of YouTubers that do digital planning because all of their journals are beautiful and hyperlinked. But I don't enjoy the hyperlinks, you know? Maybe I'm missing out on something, maybe I just don't understand, but there is something for me about clicking these thumbnails and being able to go through, because I still feel like I'm picking up a notebook and being able to flip through it. And that's a huge thing for me, wanting that feeling. And so I really love being able to just flip through and see all of the pages without worrying about something getting lost in a link somewhere. So yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being here. And I hope that you have an amazing end of this year and an amazing end of holiday season, along with a super vibrant start to 2022.